Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another request by Patreon. Again, this is from a good friend of mine, jamaral81, who wanted me to do a slasher film for 1981, Final Exam, which I do not own. This is one that I saw years and years ago, completely forgot about. Did mean to pick it up on DVD a while ago, and then never did. I would still like to get it at some point. But yeah, it's an 80s slash film that I haven't reviewed yet, and it's actually for free on YouTube, so I was able to check it out again. And it was directed by Jimmy Houston and stars almost nobody. Cecil Baghdadi, Joel S. Rice, Timothy L. Rayner, who I think most of these people kind of stayed in television. One of which I know, who was it? Sherry Willis Birch was in only 2 films. She was in this, and then the supernatural slasher comedy Killer Party from 1986, which I had to review at some point. Those were her only 2 films. And she went on to say, someone that doesn't like slasher films, I was only in 2 of them. But, yeah, so this came out during the initial slasher boom of the early 80s, 1981. Back when they were making them for crazy cheap, because they were always profitable. I mean, this was made for $363,000, and it shows, but it made $1.3 billion. And for whatever reason, this film was seized by during the whole video nasty panic of the 80s, and it's like, this one? Really? Because, okay, as far as early 80s slashers go, even 1981 alone, I mean, just looking at that, slash films, The Burning, this, My Bloody Valentine, I believe Happy Birthday to Me was 81. It was 80 or 81. Oh god, I can't even think right now, but I'm really fucking tired. It's late as shit. But this one was seized. Okay, there's barely any blood in this. No nudity. Basically, this is probably gonna be a shitty review because I'm so tired, but this is about as generic as a slasher film could get. And that, I mean, it's not as bad as, say, The Boogeyman by Uwe Lamel, which came out the year before, which I still think is the worst 80s slasher I've ever seen. Supernatural slasher. The film Madhouse, not the one with Vincent Price, but the slasher film Madhouse, which I also reviewed. Even some of the Christmas ones, like Don't Open Till Christmas. I don't remember much of New Year's Evil, but this isn't as bad as those. I actually, I didn't mind this film. I know Rambo Rat for Life hates it. Jamaral81 really doesn't care for it. I have to say, I don't mind it. I mean, there's a lot of problems with it. And I know I sound like shit. I can never make a video where I just sound normal. Would that be nice, guys? You know, just once. Would that be great? Okay, it takes place on a college campus. It's the week of final exams. A lot of kids have gone home. we have our small group of characters who are going to be stalked by this nothing to him character, killer, and that's it. I mean, there really is nothing to this killer. There's no look to him. He's wearing black pants, like what looks like a green army jacket, and that's it. No mask, no no theme, which isn't always needed. But when you look at slasher films of this time, especially early '80s, almost all of them have some sort of look to them. Always shown either in shadow or back to regular sized guy. Well, a couple scenes he looks regular size, and other ones he looks big. It doesn't make sense. It's very inconsistent. Uh, the only things I could say that were good or somewhat memorable would be the score. The score was decent, not bad. The opening music sounded very similar to Halloween. In fact, even the opening credits with just the camera panning across the campus, which has like a pond and like the trees, is very similar to the opening credits to Sleepaway Camp, which of course this came out first. And I would say the cinematography. I mean, for its budget, this did get a Blu-ray release. Maybe what I saw on YouTube is from the Blu-ray, so maybe it's just a better transfer. But even for its budget, it doesn't look like Slaughter High. Very low budget. I would actually put Slaughter High above this. Um, the the production is actually not that bad for the movie that it is, for the budget that it had. It's not that bad. And you had some decent camera work. You had some what I like to call Raimi shots. These sort of Sam Raimi inventive shots. Like there's a dumbwaiter in the cafeteria where the kids put their trays and it goes down to guys doing dishes. And there's a camera on a tray going all the way down the elevator. It goes down the ramp to the guys doing dishes. So, some interesting camera work. Even in the cafeteria when the kids are getting their lunches, it's almost like the camera's looking through the glass guard over the food. And the cinematography itself isn't that bad. Even the first kill, I like the shot of the first kill. It's just the kill itself isn't done that well, because it opens up with this college couple from a different college. I think it's called like March College or whatever. They're making out in a car. She doesn't want to, but of course they keep doing it. They're in a convertible. She hasn't put the top up. And the killer, there was like one kind of creepy shot where it's like he's on the roof, but it's a convertible, so why, whatever. And the camera from the back seat looks at the front, and you kind of see like he's poking his head down from the roof over the windshield, peeking in at him, which I always think is kind of creepy. But then just like his head moves and his leg gets in the way, it looks kind of silly. Cuts through the canvas top, pulls the guy up as if he's Batman, and then we get this faraway shot, which I like the shot, where he just like picks the guy up, slams him on the hood, and then just, with poor acting, stabs him a bunch of times. And I swear to God, you can see the knife bend when he stabs him. Which that's another big flaw of this film, is the acting. The acting's very poor. So even though I like the look of that faraway shot, I don't know why, I always have. The kill was done very poorly. And then like, we sort of, the camera's like in front of the car, so we see his legs standing there, and the camera just goes in on the girlfriend in the car screaming, but it looks like the scream was dubbed, because it's like this loud scream, but she's just like, and then it fades to black, as it implies that he's going after her. So she gets killed off screen. Most of our kills are off screen, which I can handle a bloodless, well, I don't want to say bloodless, but I can handle a slasher where there really isn't blood or gore, especially if it's filmed well or stylized, like Chainsaw Massacre or Halloween. But put the kills on screen at least. So then we're at this other college, which I forget the name of it. I don't really care. And we have our group of kids. Okay, we have, I don't even remember their names. And there's no character development. Okay, so we have our lead, Courtney. She's our final girl. She's the study bookworm. This kid, Radish, they call him Radish, who is basically that Elias kid from Clerks 2 and Albert from The Burning. He's just this really nerdy, like, oh, well, wow, oh, come on, hey, you know, very annoying. And he's obsessed with the fact that there's psychopaths out there and everyone has to be careful and something bad's gonna happen, especially since those two kids just got killed at that nearby college. Then we have this jock, Wildman, who looks like a young Michael Ironside. There's some shots where he does. He's obnoxious. You have the slutty girl, Lisa, who's fucking her chemistry teacher. This sort of flighty, flaky girl, Janet, who's dating this guy named Gary, who's a pledge for the fraternity. And this guy, Mark, who's like the head of the fraternity, who's friends with Wildman. That's our group of characters. And everything I just explained about them, that's all there is to them. There's no development whatsoever. The only other thing is, okay, Courtney is jealous of Lisa, because Lisa's the hot chick, and she can get whatever she wants. She has a free ride. Like, in fact, there's even one scene where Lisa's talking to her about how she could get whatever she wants because she's pretty. She's like, watch. She goes out in the hallway and is like, can you boys come and help me? And they come and grab her suitcases. And we get some shenanigans, like some kids pull off this prank where they stage a mass shooting, so there's more time to study. And I have to agree with Rambo Rat for Life. Could you imagine a movie today doing that? Like a movie where someone stages a mass school shooting? And everyone in this is so nonchalant. We get the over-the-top Southern accent, even though no one else has a Southern accent. Sheriff, like, well, you boys got me down here, now I gotta do something. And then the coach, actually, the coach has an accent too. He's like, well, I thought it was pretty funny. So the sheriff gives them all shit because the nerdy, scared of psychopaths kid calls the cops. And why do they even care about more time to study? Because Wildman and then the frat guy just get their pledge to steal the test anyway. Alright. So yeah, Courtney's jealous of Lisa. Janet is second guessing her dating of Gary. Gary's just this abused pledge. At one point, they even tie him to a tree covered in whipped cream in his tidy whities with ice, like full of ice, and they leave him out there for hours. That can't be good. That can't be good for the balls. And literally, that's our movie for the first 55 minutes. 55 minutes. Like, we get that first opening kill, so give that 5 minutes. But I checked the first 55 minutes. It's this. Fuck all happens. It's just a day in the life of these students. It is boring. It is. There's nothing interesting about these characters. I know in the beginning I said I didn't mind this film. I mean, I could watch it, but as a slasher film, it's boring as shit. I mean, you don't even really get scenes like POV shots or over-the-shoulder shots of the killer watching them from a distance. It's easy to forget you're even watching a slasher film during those 55 minutes. And this movie is 89 minutes long. So they really pushed all of our main cast kills to the last half hour, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, kill off the least important one maybe 25 minutes in, then another one at 30 something or 40 minutes. But no, they go 55 minutes of nothing and then kill them all off. So okay, the pledge is tied to the tree. He gets let go. Like the killer from the other side of the tree lets him go. And then of course he gets attacked. And again, it's just jumping on top of him, rapid stabbing, mostly in shadows. Then the camera pans up. I can say I liked the lighting. I mean, I liked the shadows in the scene. It looked organic. I guess I can say that. Then his girlfriend, because I guess the girlfriend has to go free the tied up in love pledge or whatever. She goes out there. He's not there, so then she's chased. She comes to this one side of the building. When she gets to the corner, she's grabbed by the throat, pulled around the corner off screen. Don't see what happens to her. The frat guy and wild man decide to sell pills. Like they know that down in the coach's locker room there's like pain pills, but he's like, if it gives you a buzz, we can sell them. So wild man goes down there, and like this is the only time we actually see the killer actually kind of kill someone, really, other than one other one that happens later in the opening couple. Because apparently the killer can fight, because he beats the hell out of this huge jock, no problem. Goes over to that weight machine where you pull the thing and the weights lift behind you. Wraps it around his neck, like holds him so it strangles him and lets him go when he gets pulled back. Oh, one of the few bits of blood we see. Frat guy goes down there to check on him. He finds him completely stuffed upside down in a locker. And then I believe he's killed off screen. If he is, I don't remember how he got killed. Because, like I said, this movie's very forgetful. Wish I could stop wiping my nose in front of you guys. That'd be great too, wouldn't it? And so then, the psycho-obsessed nerd sort of in a very cringy, nerdy way, tries to profess his love to Courtney, calling her pretty, and that there's a lot more to her. Then he says he has to go do inventory for the coach, whatever that is. Never played sports. I mean, I doubt he does, but he goes down there, finds the bodies, but of course when he calls the cops, they recognize him as the same kid from earlier, so they don't believe him. And he's like, well, fine, I'll take charge myself. And then the next time we see him, is when Courtney's walking down the hall and he's like shoved through his dorm room door with blood coming down it. So technically he was killed off screen too. And then, was that the sheriff? That, oh, I guess Radish was killed in her room. Okay, I guess I missed that. I just remember him being shoved through the door and just kind of hanging there. Slutty girl Lisa is waiting for her chemistry teacher so they can have sex, but he comes in and stabs her. Yeah, okay, I guess that was her door. And then, of course, just like every hospital in a horror film, the whole school is like evacuated. She's running through it, screaming after she finds Radish's body. I want to see if that was the sheriff, because I think it was. Oh, it's the coach. I didn't recognize him. The coach is there, and he's dressed like he's going hunting. He's got a crossbow. So there's the clock tower. Is that what it was? The conservatory clock tower. Yeah, the campus clock tower. Killer's chasing her up there. So then the coach with his crossbow goes up, and this is okay. This is why the ending doesn't make sense. He beats the hell out of the jock easily. It looks like a normal sized guy. Nothing special about him. Coach fires an arrow and he just catches it. And he's able to... Then he goes down and just stabs the coach with it. So he's dead. Then he gets all the way up the stairs to Courtney. And she's able to... She hits him a bunch of times. Gets it. She has a knife. And then stabs him 12 times. Throws him over the railing and he falls. So this is a guy who can fight a large jock named Wildman very easily. Is reflexive enough to catch an arrow. But when he gets up there with the bookworm girl, she's able to overpower him, stab him 12 times, and then throw him over the railing. And there's just nothing to this character. I mean, I'm not saying this has to be a slasher film like, you know, The Prowler, where something years ago, or Pieces, years ago something happened, and now we're up in present day, and the killer's motivated by whatever, or it's a psycho that escaped, or, you know, an abused student, or a picked on student. But, I mean, if your film is already not much, and there's really nothing to your characters, put something in the killer. I mean, he literally is the most generic, nothing to him character. I mean, I guess I like the fact he doesn't really show his face or really say who he is. So it's just this very arbitrary killer. And actually, I fucked up. Overpowers him, pushes him over the thing, somehow lives. When she gets down there, he grabs her ankle, then she stabs him 12 times. I don't fault the movie for its acting. It's a 1981 slasher. You're not going to get Oscar caliber acting. I get that. I usually forgive acting in 80s slash films because they're 80s slash films. The off-screen deaths was kind of a put off. The lack of blood only bothered me because the rest of the movie wasn't that great. Again, the only things I could say are positives would be the like the cinematography, some of the camera work, and the score. If the rest of it had been well done, I could have lived with the bloodless kills. But not really. So, yeah, the bloodless kills does kind of suck. The fact that a lot of them were off screen, that really sucks. And the fact that there's nothing to the killer. I mean, again, just the most generic look. And also, if you just want to go with an arbitrary killer, no name, really no face that we recognize as a character, backstory, or motive, at least make him interesting. Give him a mask or something. But no, it's just the most regular guy. And also, you have him look like just an average sized regular dude when he kills the pledge and the couple in the beginning. Average sized guy that can fight the jock. But then when he's going after the Courtney girl, he seems bigger and can catch an arrow, but then she's able to overpower him. Some critics have hinted towards homoeroticism in this, especially during like the hazing with the pledge. I mean, there is one scene where they're trying to get him to steal the test, and Wildman is like standing behind him with his head on his shoulder, kind of going, oh, ooh. I know he's being silly, but... So yeah, it's flawed. I can watch it. It's not as bad as I expected or as I heard. Nor is it as bad as The Boogeyman or Madhouse or some of the Christmas slash films that I've seen. Or even like Return to Horror High. I probably put this over that. That movie's incredibly forgetful as well. But it's another early 80s slasher that I can knock off my list. But yeah, jamaral81, I hope you enjoyed this. And that is 1981's Final Exam. Thank you for watching.